Hey everyone, I'm Julien Jarry for Adorama TV, and I'm here to give you an overview of the new Sony FX3. In this overview, I'm going to talk to you about how I think this new camera fits within the current Sony lineup between the FX6 and the A7S3. I'll explain a few of its obvious and standout features that are unique to it, and I'll break down a few shoots I did with the camera attempting to lean on and test some of those features. Okay, so here we go. The new FX3 sits somewhere directly in between the A7S3 and the FX6, and we know it shares a lot of the same features and specs with both cameras. From what I can tell, it is an A7S3 with no EVF in a completely new body designed specifically for video. It has tally lights on both the front and the back of the camera, new record buttons which look and feel like the ones from the FX6, new D-pads, and a plethora of video-specific menu and function buttons. Sony even moved the power switch from the shutter button to the back of the camera. There's a mode button where you can quickly switch between different photo and video modes, though the camera does default and feel most at home in video mode, of course. It has a flip-out screen and comes with an integrated yet removable top handle and XLR unit, and yes, it does have in-body image stabilization. You did hear me correctly, you can take stills with the camera. Possibly the most notable feature on the camera is its active cooling and fan system. This makes a big statement as far as real production reliability is concerned, and there should be absolutely no worry of overheating with this camera. Now, because of all these new video-specific buttons, dials, and overall layout, I needed a bit of time to get used to the camera. When it came time to actually put the camera through its paces on a real shoot, the new top handle, XLR inputs, and record buttons in particular were a pleasure to use, and the integrated mounting points on the body made it easy rigging to a car. We'll get to that in a moment. From what I can tell, it shoots in the exact same 4K 10-bit 422 up to 120 frames per second using the exact same codecs as the A7S3. There's no reason why the image coming out of this camera shouldn't match up perfectly with both the FX6 and A7S3 images. Okay, so when I received this camera, I immediately noticed the top handle and XLR unit and said to myself, I want to test that and record some great audio internally. Separately, I saw the integrated mounting points all over the camera and thought to myself, I need to try and utilize those to rig the camera onto a car. So for our first shoot, I called up my friend Steve, who does all of my audio post-production and who happens to have a very cool story, and asked him if he'd let me come over and shoot a micro doc on him. He said yes, and we did just that. Technically and image quality wise, the camera performed exactly how I expected it to, right there alongside the FX6 and A7S3. I was pleasantly surprised by the ergonomics of the top handle, and I didn't plan to use it as much as I did, but found that in almost 100% of the handheld work I did on the shoot, I used it. Now for the XLR unit, the main reason why I chose Steve as a subject for this test. I knew we were going to record both voice and potentially instruments into the camera directly, and to my pleasant surprise, everything worked out and sounded excellent. Take a minute and watch and listen to a small excerpt from the microdoc we shot on Steve on both the FX3 and FX6.
So anyone who is also struggling, anyone who is wondering what their path might be, the advice I would give, number one, be yourself. Don't chase something you think is you if it doesn't feel like you, and don't let anybody else tell you who you are, because those are the two biggest dead ends in life, is trying to be someone that somebody else thinks you are.
If not already published, the full-length piece on Steve should be up on my personal channel shortly. After our interview with Steve, I shot a side-by-side comparison of the FX6, FX3, and A7S3 using the same lens and all of the same settings, and it appears that my intuition of the FX3 and A7S3 images being identical is correct. From what I can tell, the images are virtually the same, and the FX6 is not too far off. With just a few minor adjustments, these cameras match up perfectly. Now, I knew that if I tested the camera without throwing it on a drone or mounting it to a car, I would be doing it an injustice. So I decided to do what I could with the small amount of rigging that I own and mount it to a car to get a few shots to see how it held up. The integrated mounting points make mounting super easy, and the front and rear tally lights let even the talent know you're rolling. With the FX3, there's nothing extra that shouldn't be on the camera, and for applications like this, minimalism is a win. Well, that is about all the time I have for us today. I hope this gave you a little bit more information about the new Sony FX3. If you like this video and want us to make more like it, let us know in the comments down below. And if you feel so inclined, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell to receive notifications when we upload. Once again, my name is Julien Jarry for Adorama TV, and I'll see you in the next one.